Hi, everyone.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Welcome, everyone. And we have, as you know, a very special guest with us tonight, our dear friend,
Brian.
Brian Tseng, also known as Solar Bee. So, hey, Brian.
Welcome to the show. Oh, you're mute.
Yeah, you're muted. Let me.
That's me.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean and
Wow.
Yssah. Long time no see from the Rise of the Guardians conference in Sedona, Arizona, thrown by our good friend Rion de Rouen of teamlight.com.
Yes. And we had a lot of fun there, right? A lot of things going on, a lot of activations, network, family, tribe coming together with the same purpose, like mainly the same purpose, which is unity and creating this new earth, as you say it. So, and these events are very important, which brings us tonight together because Brian here, as I'm quite sure you know by now, you who are watching this transmission, is the founder and creator of the Full Disclosure Now movement. So, Brian, can you tell us about it, your role there?
Yeah, and first, and the thing I always say is I'm not the founder of the movement by any means. I mean, that began, with the first whistleblowers being harassed by the men in black. I consider myself the latest self-appointed volunteer advocate organizer in a long line of many people. And I'm trying to help galvanize around the movement by helping, to brand that name into something more of the popular consciousness so that we can get away from being a fringe grouping of people talking about secret space programs. The whole concept of intelligent life or ETs coming and visiting here, in general, that's becoming more popularly accepted. But even so, it's a very small grouping, relatively speaking, who are aware of like the Pleiadians, the Lyrans, the Vegans, the Zeta Reticulan Greys, the negative Alpha Draconian Siakar reptilians, and all the positive reptilians out there too. The various insectoids, particularly the mantid beings and stuff like that. And so we're speaking at a level that the vast majority of the population isn't. And until most people, or more people at least, get clued into all of this, it really prevents the more positive ETs from coming and interacting with us. And the real downside of that is it's not a neutral battleground. The negative reptilians have owned Earth and this territory of space for like ever. And then you've got the negative Anunnaki as well, who've been enslaving us for at least the last 260,000 years or something like that. And so, on and off during that time period. And so, we're at a critical stage right now, but it's all looking very good. As bad and dark and as much chaos as there is out there, where, it's kind of like the way I explain it to people is the dark has been riding the pendulum, like think Miley Cyrus on a wrecking ball. And she's been like swinging woo all this way, just smashing through everything, creating havoc like a wrecking ball that she is. And then she's getting all the way to the end of her swing there. And the other side thought that at the end of the swing, the wrecking ball was going to punch through the wall and yay, they would win. But instead it went bonk and it's bouncing back, and now it's swinging back that wrecking ball. So now think of Katy Perry all naked in reverse, or not Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus. I've got Katy Perry on the brain because of the whole Blue Origin thing, debacle or shenanigan, whatever you want to call it. I did a show with our good friend Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress, earlier. That's why I'm wearing my NASA Space Camp jumpsuit.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
There's like psychic protection, and you keep adding the different symbols to it.
Yeah, exactly. On the back, I've got a few.
Nice. Yes. I like that.
It's badass.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got you new stickers too to add to it. Tell us what
Yeah.
intentions you want. We'll work on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got my B logo around here, and then my heckle fish from the Y-Files, and then also my the lifting.net. They've got their star tetrahedron shape. You know. But back to Miley Cyrus on her wrecking ball. You know, they bonked off the wall. They didn't break through it. Now all of us, we're all the way swung over on that negative territory of they almost won. Yeah, we're swinging back in the right direction, and I can sense it. Many of us can see it, but we're still way over in the middle of the crappy side of things. So that's kind of where we are now. And as time goes by, and especially the more work and successful that we are at what we do in reaching out to the general population, the faster that ball is going to swing in our favor, and the better it's going to look as it swings towards the light side.
Yes, yes, I agree. And by the way, when I said a creator and founder, it's mostly about the conference.
Oh yeah, the conference. Oh, yeah,
The
for sure.
conference.
I'll take
That you are. You're
I'll
one
take
only
credit for that. That's fine. I'll take credit for that. Yeah, and Ida Farhad as well,
Exactly.
my one co-producer for sure.
Yes, yes. Both of you are doing an amazing work. And because all of this information that you are expressing, yeah, it's known by some groups and it's expanding, as you said. However, if we don't bring it, if we don't materialize it at a bigger scale, then the information just fades away. So
Yeah.
it's through these types of movements of conferences that we are bringing more power into the network to actually start planting and expanding all these seeds of consciousness that a lot of people, as you said, are only aware of very specific groups of the galactic community. And many of the others that are unknown have been underground doing a lot of things for the earth, and was part of their mission to keep themselves, low
On the down
profile
low for a while.
somehow. Yeah, not anymore though. Not anymore.
So these are all the psychics and energy grid workers and people who do astral projecting and with specific missions in mind for the light. I like to use a historical example of back in the day during the anti-Vietnam War movement in the revolutionary 60s, before it turned into the kind of peace and love and airy-fairy dopey hippy-dippy stuff that it got watered down into. Yeah. Let's just make love in the streets and overturn, burn our bras. And that's changed. That was a cultural thing, but it really sidetracked the revolutionary movement. And you had campuses like Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley in the San Francisco Bay Area, where the students from all over, didn't matter if they were in the music department, math, science, whatever, the arts, they joined together in the main quad areas and took over the schools, and they began to do teach-ins, which can be highly effective. Instead of saying we're going to go on strike and just not do anything, they did teach-ins and they did real education about really the real power structure, and it messed things up so badly that later on, when they used University of California regents and all them did University of California, Santa Cruz, I think it was, they made sure that there wasn't a central quad area, that the economics people would be way over here in that wing, and there would be, all the music department people would be over there across campus, and all the math and English lit would be, in their own separate wings to prevent that centralization. When you look at our movement right now, we've got people who are the ET contactees and the psychics and the energy workers, and it's kind of probably the people that you're most familiar with, right? Because you are in that sector, literally doing the work. And then you've got the truth or patriot side, You've got the people who are just into like the occult and looking at the Illuminati and Hollywood and things like that, which links up with a lot of the Truth or Patriot stuff. And then you've got the ET Truth or contactees and the targeted individual military abductees and secret space program veterans. And then you've got all the paranormal people, the Bigfoot contactees and experiencers, like Long Island Bigfoot Mike and Christopher Jacobs and Joanna Michaels, among others. Then you've got all the near-death experience folks, like Dannion Brinkley has had 4, among other people, and we're all kind of in our separate little silos right now. But as more and more of us get together, and then that's going to have a greater overall impact on the general zeitgeist of people picking up on it, like, hey, there's something going on here, like this Sean Bond guy keeps popping up all over the place, and all these Bigfoot people, there's like 50 million Bigfoot contactees now, and they're all saying the same consistent message in detail. Now this is like ufology 2.0. The movement is now in full swing.
Yes. Now that you were talking about the importance of bringing all groups into a unified field, I fully agree, because we can see this at many layers. Like, for instance, if we go at a quantum physics level and everything that is being accomplished, because in order to move into that stage where we are part of the galactic community as a human cosmic race, to say it somehow, it's not only about upgrading our DNA, it's not only about knowing the reality that exists outside, it's also about improving our technologies. So if we're talking about zero energy, 0 point energy, and like having flying cars and so forth, then that's also a reflection of what you're talking about, which is unifying the versions of ourselves that, due to the fact that we live in a holofractographic reality, then we have a little bit of each race. And if we know how to master that, we will not only be connecting with the information that they have to offer to us and remembering ourselves as multidimensional beings, where we are at right now, at this very same point in space-time, in many dimensions, yet also knowing how to master that, which is that 0 point energy, which is not allowing ourselves to be the result or to be the consequence of other factions that are trying to dictate our fate. It's actually owning our present, owning our reality, because now we know that through separation, as those groups that you were mentioning that they did, that through separation is that not that we accomplish our goal at all, So, and I do believe that the more that we are open into that unified consciousness or unity consciousness, also the ETs will come more, for sure. Because, for instance, if you see the places that there is more ET contact, are places that people already, well, not all of them, because of course, but most of them, people has reached already a very specific level of consciousness in which they are not running or rejecting themselves through other factions or people. They have come into that point that they recognize that we are all one, starting that path.
Well, Yssah, I think you're really touching upon, both you and Sean often are speaking about like the quantum holofractal universe. And then I think a lot of people who don't necessarily have their third eye open or certain psionic abilities quite as unlocked, they're not quite so sure what that means. And really, as for the audience, it's, how do you align in as many ways as possible to bring about the reality, the future, the present that we want to see in the here and now. And, Oprah Winfrey, she kind of screwed us over by pushing this whole new agey, inverted, distorted version through this book, The Secret and the Law of Attraction, where it's like, if I want to make the movement happen, or if I wanted a Tesla Cybertruck, silly example, especially now. Um, but it's one thing for me to print out pictures of the Cybertruck and read up on the Cybertruck and pray about the Cybertruck and have a shrine in my collage and my vision board and all of that to the Cybertruck. But what she and the others in pushing this new age distorted version of the ascension, really, they left out the law of right aligned action. So it's like, okay, so I want a Cybertruck, but if I'm like gambling away all my money, not working hard, doing all sorts of terrible things, and not driving safe and losing my license, yeah, I can do all that vision board, hope and pray stuff. But if I'm not acting in aligned action, and so, how do we in the community align our lives as much towards our Star Trek future and in alignment with that, while cutting all the cords of all the crap that we've been hijacked with from the food and the water that's poisoned? Nothing stops us. And it's getting hard. When we go to the supermarkets, it's hard to find food that's untainted, and even then, but there's nothing stopping us from looking at the ingredient labels. Like, I'll give you an example. I went and I got canned peaches the other day. Better to get them in glass, but they didn't have them at that supermarket. And I'm reading the ingredients, and some are like high fructose corn syrup. One had stevia, and then the other one had something else. And it was like, well, of the three, one was the least bad, but I don't know. And then you guys, I'm sure you two are aware of all the bioengineered food and stuff that is popping up in the labeling.
Yeah, all the attachment that's built up on this reality, and with the minds that think of ways from their parasitic mindset of evil that can't earn abilities, needs to take them and predates the rest of the population. There's ways that they try to get into people or to build programs that are weights heavy on people's hearts and build up over time with illness and sickness and negative emotion and mind control and abuse and wounds and all these distractions and the endless distractions that will take one out of their true path in their heart, because they feel the need to escape and then make their own prisons around themselves by being their own handler with the ego boundaries that lie, cheat, and steal to hold and maintain their bubbles of reality as they perceive them. Yeah, there's a lot people are breaking out of in the matrix and the gatekeepers, and to find the truth of who they are and what the truth around us is and what there is to discover. And with that exoskeletons of reality and disclosure that you are presenting with these many brilliant guests that I'd love to hear the list of, this is something that can be brought to every individual as they see fit if they do the due diligence to find people like you that are presenting an option of many options, and to pick and choose the understanding of the pathways down the rabbit holes for people to discover this truth you're presenting. There is a lot to go into, and it's overwhelming, but in a good way, and mind-blowing, which I'm addicted to. And I grow each time I go to one of these events. And so I think more people should do them. It's like, if anyone out there in the crowd, you feel alone, we are not alone in the
we're
world.
Surrounded. We're surrounded. And Kiri, Bin Charge here is asking us, do you guys think that if someone blesses their food or rechannels the value of what they receive, that they can cancel or be non-affected by GMO, EFT, and everything, really? Okay, so my response to that is, as above, so below, as within, so without. So everything first is spiritually reflected above, right? So when you eat like a genetically modified food, not only is there here in our third density level, the nasty chemical crap in it, but there's also spiritual energy, sometimes even beings attached to some of this stuff, or curses and things like that. So then, if you pray over this food, can you transmute it and make it harmless? I think if you're a sufficient power you probably could. I'm sure Master Yeshua, Brother Yeshua could. But then am I, or are you, at that level of transmutation? So I'm more on the why tempt the Lord side of things. If you know something's probably bad for you, don't eat it. Always pray over it though. And at the point where you have to eat something bad, but it's your only choice for whatever reason, absolutely pray over it. But that's kind of the approach I take. But this gets us to what Sean is and Yssah are pointing out in terms of realizing the world and changing it and moving it and shifting it. It's understanding the spiritual warfare first and foremost that's always at play, and then dealing with it in the here and now and the physical. So many people in our community that we run into all the time, I'm sure you and Sean and Yssah do, because you do consults and you got psionicleague.com and you're traveling in these circles. It's like they're I'm a light worker, I'm a starseed. Yes, absolutely you are. And a lot of them they seem to want to skip the third density stuff and jump right into the fourth and fifth density. And I get that. Like the third density is like, who wants to deal with bills and being chased by the IRS and whatever. But it's kind of like this. It's like, great, master the fourth and fifth density, but don't neglect the third. Part of mastering the fourth and fifth includes having a mastery of the third.
Well, something, Brian. There is something that I was listening from one of the quantum physicists. Like he also approaches, like he's a neurologist, a biophysicist, and William Brown, and he's working with Nassim, and Nassim Haramein for the ones that don't know him. So he was talking about the third D as a field full of voxels. And actually I was talking about this information, because I have tapped into that. So I needed the solid rock for to prove that, So I do believe that one of the things is that the way that they present the 3D as these spheres, as these voxels of information, is what is keeping us trapped into that idea. And actually, we are holographically projected at a fourth density and existing now. So that's when we are aware of that, that's when we actually master time. But I get what you're saying, because it's about people rejecting their earthly, the earthly part of them, what we deal with every life. For instance, now this guy being charged was also asking, what if you just know nothing can harm you? And the thing is that, as I agree with you, Brian, that you were saying, if you reach a level of mastery like Yeshua or another, like highly vibrational being, you can do that, because all of what we see is just information, are particles of light, and they are merely codified, like they codify into anything that we put into. However, our plasma field needs to be strong enough to project a laser of coherence that will actually activate that information into that. So perhaps you can do that once, you can do that twice, like codifying the meal, blessing it, and it can work. But if you eat every day by codifying, then that could also fall into a denial, and not only for food, for many things, mainly the primary needs, because these groups, as Sean was saying, like when we have our heart is strong. However, these groups know how important, and they even, the waves that they use through the technologies are mainly beaming into the amygdala, which is a part in the brain that is the one that creates adrenaline, that creates cortisol, and all those chemical substances that are keeping you in fear, that are generating anxiety, So they are going directly to the
Like
gut
a
brain.
cortisol spike, and then people freak out. Ah!
Yeah, and they eat poison, and then they need more poison. And so they know how to, because they have the information where it says, like in a manual, how human was created and how the human can react instead of act towards life.
Or
So
act instead
they're,
of react.
yes, they're based on the reaction. They're focusing on the reaction.
Yeah, because they try to keep us in a lower base or reactive state, but when we're activating from our base root chakra all the way up to our higher, and we're coming from here, and then when we've got that, as Dan Winters talks about, that heart mind, coherency, and others talk about it too, by sabotaging the neurotransmitters and throwing off our thyroid glands and all that, all the knock-on effects have made society so much easier for the Khazarian mafia, cabal, derp state, loser Farians to manipulate humanity. And so a big part of the movement not only is cleaning out all that garbage, it's then replacing it with all the new earth, Star Trek future things, like what everyone's going to be using electroculture instead of pesticides and GMOs, and we're going to go back to heirloom seeds and macro culture, where we're doing gardens and jungles of food that support each other, and we're going to be doing more of a barter system. And then I think gold and silver and maybe XRP are going to be doing well. Jenny Lee's site, all her contacts and others seem to be kind of along those lines. But remember, this is not financial advice to everybody. I'm not a financial advisor. But New Earth is much more mutually beneficial and sustainable and healthy. And then I'm told that when first contact is made with the Galactic Federation types, it's most likely that a lot of the Sasani and the Yael, these are two of the more gray human hybrid races, are going to be among those that really interact with us down here on Earth. And it's going over the long run to lead to hybridization of humanity, which helps take care of a lot of the inbreeding that we have down here on planet Earth, that we do have apparently. And then it's also, we get to live longer, be more telepathic, and look like sexy elves that much more. So those are all win-wins, right, everybody? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
That's one of the grand futures that we're trying to bring in. Your event and others, but not quite to the degree as yours, are pulling in many timelines and anchoring them into existence and opening up for more possibilities and unfoldment in the psionic revolution of mind overcoming matter and to the spirit overcoming mind and beyond, in which we bring in more of the heaven that we see in our hearts to earth and anchor it in as the disclosures of truth and expansion of consciousness can be had. So thank you for doing that. There are some big events with what I read from the last event you had on what people that go to these things can expect. They can find things like connection to other soul family members and complete their codes, get more of their mission done, both unseen and seen, linking up collaboration. It's like you felt like if you felt a lack your entire life, like something's missing. It's like a whole nother arm, like a magic psionic arm of energy comes online and you have more influence in the world. And it feels like you have more love coming into your heart, and a whole aspect of you didn't know existed turns on as you go to events like yours. It's and it's held in a freedom state, Florida, so there's a lot of fun times and ET activity around on underground bases. Like huge amount of that. The last time, so one of the biggest conferences of ET activity I've seen. A lot of people that go have soul family that's like ancient off-world soul family, ET soul family that visits them every once in a while, and sometimes has ships that follow them around out of phasing clouds. So a lot of those showed up, and they all started doing a commerce network, and they made a big system that. Oh, you're on mute, by the way.
So basically, they were doing commerce during our event in the skies above the Serrata Beach Resort there at St. Pete Beach, because as starseeds get together, then the ships that follow them around have more ability to gather in the same area and interact.
Yes. And huge realities are shifted. Like even when we were in the beach the first day, just the very first day, and already the timelines were shifting. What happened that day?
That's the day the assassination on Trump happened.
The intent.
That like didn't work, and it's like near miss by a bullet. So it's like, oh my god, that's like the closest timeline shave of events I could possibly think of in the difference. My god, but yeah. Huge things that just like shift in the whole of being of it. So all these soul families with their greater families, federations, like also Earth, what the Earth Alliance.
It strengthened. Well, and after our conference, shortly after Florida and that whole southeastern seaboard area got walloped with weather warfare. First, Hurricane Helene as like a Category 5 all the way up that coastline and into Kentucky, Tennessee, right? And then when by the time Milton came around, many of us in the community put out the call for everyone to collectively pray and meditate and call upon Source God and communicate with the Fae, the weather elementals, to help bring it down, or to do astral missions to fry the weather warfare machinery. And according to some of our contacts, it was us, the collective, is the reason why when Hurricane Milton hit the Florida coastline, right where our conference is held, Tampa area there, Hurricane Milton, instead of being a 5 and maintaining and ripping all the way up, went to a 3 and then dissipated. And then what Christopher Jacobs' contacts say is the reason why when it dissipated this one big hurricane into like a bunch of smaller hurricanes, those were the negative beings. They were individually their own hurricane energies had combined into the one big one. And when the one big one was split apart, that's why you saw the littler ones spin off of that.
What I was tuning into is that a lot of those hurricanes are the result of a lot of energy, to say it somehow, that is coming from the Bermuda Triangle. Some of them is directed, some of them it's just like as a portal, like lower consciousnesses filtering in and then going there for a very specific reason, because Florida is super important, not only in relation to the stargates, like it is right aligned to one of the most important pyramids under the water, which is in between the peninsula de Yucatan and Cuba, so there is a purpose, many purposes that Florida as land is serving for in a good way.
Didn't they ban recently geoengineering or something?
Well, yeah, the state of Florida is and other, I think 18 states total are doing it. And there's rumors that the Trump administration is forming a task force against that. Right there, along with what you're saying, Yssah, the Bermuda Triangle, what Christopher Jacobs and others say is that that's a time fracture portal there, where there's a giant pyramid under the water there from the Atlantean, the Pyramid Wars. And every now and then that fracture opens up above the pyramid, and then that's what sucks in the planes and the ships and all that to make them disappear. Also, Dr. Michael Sala of exopolitics.org, along with JP, say that underneath that area of Florida, around the Sarasota kind of area around where we are too, we're a little bit north of that, there might be inner earth underneath there, the tree of life with a fountain of youth. or a tree of life with a fountain of youth, rather. Yeah, there's a lot linked up there. That's a magical area. And then legend has it, the reason why they call Indian Shores, that's where our sister event weekend, Day of Being 5.0, is going to be held. It's only about a 25-minute drive from the Serrata Beach Resort, where most of us will be staying the whole time through the conference and during that weekend. The Indians, the natives, have blessed that beach at Indian Shores, and that's why there's like never ever apparently a hurricane there. It's supposed to be magically blessed, and apparently you can look up the weather charts and confirm that, like, that for some reason they don't get hit with hurricanes the way the rest of Florida has.
The power of the collective, and I have not only tuned into one, which is in the Bermuda Triangle, but another 11. They call them the Vial Triangles. There is another one in Japan. They call it the Triangle of the Devil.
Is that where the devil? That's Devil's Triangle.
Yeah, that 12, because around those pyramids they created inorganic Merkabas to accelerate the evolution of the Earth's Merkaba. But anyway,
they were hacking our grid in a bad way to do a geodetic grid reversal, or Earth energy grid reversal, to hijack the matrices. And I like to think about it as, like, imagine like beautiful celestial or Mother Earth music playing all over, and then these buttheads come and they hijack the sound system, and they put in like Miley Cyrus or something, or and really just stuff I don't want to hear.
Yeah. There's also like, if you've seen Men in Black, like a super hub of like city structures for immigrants, different species that in commerce and mesh together, and a bunch of networks at other bases. But yeah, like somebody said in the comment, you heard one of the fountain of youth is under Disneyland. I agree with that. It's like a tendril. There's multiple tendrils that come up in Florida, but there's like this overpowered, energetic, like rare energy spectrum that has well springs attached to it that run through it and then pop up and pressurize with levity, which is interesting, in different parts of Florida. One is under Space Mountain. It's got weird energy. It's doing something of overpowered chess move that understands that dark sorcerers are trying to harvest off it, but is countering it and making an even bigger chess move. It also has to do with the magic of Disney, but like a long-term chess move, not under. Also, it's quite hijacked. It's just it's like a lot of our reality has truths that are given to the masses, and there are different delivery methods that have been made bigger than others, and there's like a give and a take with each of those. What you gain in the light of types of the magic of different movies versus the negative. Unfortunately, the war within.
Well, as time has gone by, I'd say that the Disney movies have gotten much darker, and the credit of society at large, we've responded by walking away. Yeah, not paying to go see that garbage. Who wants to see a woke Snow White? I mean, it's hard enough watching the original. Like, fine, I'll watch that maybe, but like wokeify, it's like, oh, please. No, we're the opposite of that. We're, there's in our movement, in terms of discernment, there's an important discussion here, and kind of how I choose who, my criteria for deciding who gets to be on either the main galactic or second solar stage at the conference series is, I'll always call out Bashar. He has advocated that everyone roll up their sleeves to get the cocktails, and everyone should listen to the experts and authorities of the World Health Organization. It's like, no. If they're saying that, I don't care if they say they're channeling ETs, and I believe he is. But is their message true and correct? just because he's channeling ETs who say that they're friendly, that's not friendly to me to say roll up your sleeves.
Because then it would be replicating the story. That's where we're coming from. And actually, we are now supposed to question everything that is being told to us to generate our own awareness, our own beliefs. And then from that truth, from that inner truth, how can we grow our connection to our multidimensional body, the other versions of ourselves, if we don't communicate with them and ask them questions, not only with them, with the beings that come and visit us, only through empiric experience, like only through that level of experiencing is that we can actually connect with the inner truth. And then becoming to a unity that will be sustainable and not based on lies, on things that we don't truly believe, just are assuming them because someone else told us to.
Yeah. And like I'd go into that, like I stopped listening to him when he told people not to like look at the Illuminati thing.
Yeah, he always downplays
like
the darkness. Yeah, he always downplays the darkness. He always downplays.
I'd say that's trapped in blood lightning.
Trapped in
that's
what?
Not quite the equation for reality warping in lucid dreaming in this realm. Sorry, you're going up. Okay,
you were cutting out. Yeah.
Like reality warping. If you want to get into it, it goes more than thought. It goes more than emotion. There's like a whole equation into it. And you're also agreeing not just the reality that you believe or has been shown to you, but your ancestors, the DNA lineage, the soul family, the creators of Earth. They can't just deny reality when it comes and hits them deep within them. And a lot of them like to do that. And it's like shit. You can shift reality. It's just if something's already present, like there's cockroaches in the house, there's mud under the rug or something, you can't just ignore it and it will go away. You actually do something about it, clean it up, make it so that it's not hospitable to the parasites. And that comes with the awareness and truth and the responsibility, and transmuting the fear that's usually built up in the kidneys and the adrenal glands, and giving it love and shrinking it down so it doesn't have power over us. We don't have to go into fear porn. Your groups have a lot of white pills and black pills, and I think it's a healthy diet to go in a spectrum of white pills, then black pills, and then not get overloaded with black pills, but you want to be able to take as many black pills as you want. You can.
I like to consider myself a red pillar. So instead of a white or black pill, it's more of a red pill, which is the direction of positive change.
White pills also.
Because you're understanding the darkness, but then waking up and empowering ourselves enough so that we can deal with it and overcome it. And, there's a lot of people in our community where another thing on discernment, where we had a lot of channelers and psychics, some, to their credit, I think are much more on, like Lily Nova and Elizabeth April and others getting in this Farsight Institute, getting positive messages about the white hats and the Trump administration. Not to say Trump's perfect, we got to worship or anything, but the white hats that are there, and there's a lot of proofs and indicators that there are. There were channelers saying, and Bashar was one of them, but Pamela Aralyn was another. They were doing these channelings where they're saying, if the orange man wins, then there's going to be horribleness and maybe World War III and just darkness. But if the woman wins, it's going to be a time of prosperity and peace. It's like, that's up there with like, go ahead and roll up your sleeves, Yes. So the people who run that line won't ever make it onto our stages at the conference.
So now that you mentioned that, how would you define the people that is coming into your stage? Like,
give us a rundown.
Let me present my screen here. Gonna share my screen. Hold on a second.
Be able to present?
Yeah.
I think I'm able to. Yes. Okay. entire screen. Allow. Okay, I'll share my screen. So if everyone can go over to fulldisclosuremovement.org, we've got information for tickets and booking your conference discounted stay, along with some of our amazing sponsors, and then our presenters. And we're still adding to this lineup. Laura Eisenhower just confirmed. Tone Millard is going to be doing a spiritual combat presentation with Rion Deruan. So it'll be a Rion and Tone on combating
nice.
spiritual darkness. Yeah, that's going to be theirs. You got James Bartley flying all the way from Australia. He's a secret space program experiencer and Draco Reptilian in particular experiencer. And so he's a big authority on the negative reptilians, especially. Brad Olson is new this year and personal friend. Miles Johnston's coming again from the UK for the Basis Project. Yemi Genet of the Farsight Institute. Here's you two, of course, next to Christopher and Joanna. Then Matthew Mornian and Penny Bradley are returning. Jenny Lee, she has not been at any in-person conferences for several years now, and so she's got an amazing following of people where they watch her show with Ms. Jeep on YouTube. I've had the pleasure of being on there several times because they watch it a lot, because a lot of them, they're watching Jenny for her forecasting because her remote viewing is that good. Some of her remote viewing data has literally been criminal court admissible before. And she's going to be doing a special, separate, exclusive workshop where she can help you reconnect with passed on loved ones and pets. And that's an amazing service. My father died from the cocktails 2 Novembers ago, and I've gotten to speak with him since. Oh, yeah, thank you. It's okay. He's happy on the other side. It's more, my mom's sad. She's carrying on.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to speak with my father thanks to spiritualists and mediums. Several times he's come through, and I've gotten to have that discussion with him that I knew I'd only be able to have once he was on the other side and could see all the things I was talking about without writing me off a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. Then we've got Jessica Jones, a cryptid huntress, returning. And Antonia Lau, she hasn't been out on a public circuit for a while. And she talks a lot about earth changes and all the spirit-led visions and clairvoyance and prophetic things that she's been given, telling us to prepare for some nasty earth changes. I don't know if they're going to happen in this timeline, but I think it's better to be prepared than not. Paul and Cheryl are returning with their Tesla bed or Tesla table technology. Samuel Chong, he's a translator for the Thayuba prophecy by Jean-Michel Desmarchais, I think his name is, from the Thayuban ETs. Joshua Shapiro, the Crystal Skull Explorer, he's leading a panel that you two get to be on, Crystal Skulls and Ancient ET Artifacts. And Mike Forrest will be on that as well. He's very well researched on this. He's been involved with a lot of the carbon dating studies, I think it is, dating a lot of these artifacts that you two have found. Anywhere, they generally range from 3,000 to 18,000 years old, right? And as you note, Sean, the older they are, generally the more intricate, beautiful, larger, powerful, they are.
Yes.
Drago will be returning. Not on here yet is Soma Ara, the Palladian channeler. She's flying over from Ireland. Nice. Let's see. We may have Jean-Charles Moyen, a French secret space program experiencer, but we're still locking him in. So, just everyone should know that. But we're 80%. Brooks Agnew will be returning, and he's just an amazing author and presenter, and he's very knowledgeable about and well traveled. Not to mention that Tom Althouse, he is someone where Hollywood stole the screenplay for the movie series The Matrix from him, and he has a stamped copy of his script, The Immortals, which is so much like The Matrix, that he presented to that same studio that did The Matrix, and it's stamped before The Matrix ever came out. So he's predating that. Nathan Cizek will be coming for the first time this year. He's also known as a Haljayan contact. He also was a member of something known as the Joy of Satan for briefly. So he speaks about mind control and targeting and what he calls virtual temple complexes. And this is ways of like getting massive groups of people to mind control and manipulate each other for these darker, nefarious groups. Gina Virginia Casella, this is her first time. She's a transformational healer and shaman speaker. And Daniel and Derek, I got to meet them through our friends at Journey to Truth at the Rebels of Disclosure conference last year. Actually, I might have met them before that, but I got to see them speak. That's right. I met them before that, but I got to see them speak for the first time last year at Journey to Truth, Rebels of Disclosure conference. And their grandfather was a member of the UFO crash recovery teams for under the Majestic group. And he wrote a book called Above Cosmic Clearance. And apparently not only is there, above cosmos clearance. And I said to Daniel and Derek, I have heard of cosmic clearance, but there's a cosmos clearance. And then there's some chart that Dr. Stephen Greer released. And there's a lot that I disagree with him on. And I think ultimately he's a limited hangout. But this chart early on was great. And it shows that there is indeed a cosmos clearance. And that's basically involving secret space program down, UFO level stuff. And that's way above presidential security clearance, which is like level 32 or something like that. You said something, Sean?
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Love it.
Wow. Yeah, and I could keep going down the line here, but
yeah, please.
So Matt Tracy, he is Secret Space Program and I believe Montauk, and he remembers Penny Bradley, and Penny Bradley remembers him from the programs as well. And Matt is going to be speaking on psionics because psionic abilities, as you know, especially Sean, and Nisha play very heavily into the secret space programs and the super soldiers and all of that. The valuable assets, just like Christy Campbell, she has a lot of recall of multiple people from the Montauk Project and the Mothers of Darkness Castle, including Veronica Bartolini, Angie Dollar Healer Maxwell, and Susan Long, among others. Susan, I think we might need to remove her from this lineup because she might not be able to make it, as she let me know. So I don't want to be guilty of false advertising. Micah Dank, he was a protege of Jordan Maxwell, similar to Johnny Enoch, but Micah really focuses on astrotheology, all the symbolism in there, and the application. Carl Dory will be returning, and he's going to be on the Montauk SSP panel, along with Nate Gray, and Michael Koff will be emceeing. And then,
What's
of course,
the
Zachary
panel on Montauk going to be on? Like talking about like remedy for the assholes, or what are you doing?
Well, I think that we, especially Sean, you and I were on the 2023 Montauk Adventure Tour that I co-organized with James Rink of SuperSoldierTalk.com and others. And, I think for us, we're kind of immersed in it, and the lore and the witnesses and survivors and the testimony. And we kind of have like the bigger picture and the macro picture. I think the vast majority of people out there, they only have like little pieces, and the pieces that they have, tend to be the whitewashed versions, like the Peter Moon Montauk Chronicles series, where he heard Preston Nichols' whitewash version that really left out a lot of the ritual abuse that he perpetuated upon those children. Or they've got the Hollywood whitewashed version that we see in Stranger Things. And Stranger Things, I always like to point out, they turned it into like the 1980s nostalgic kids having it ET adventures, Steven Spielberg style, with the upside down opening a doorway into some bad place. And yeah, that was part of the Montauk adventure, not Montauk Adventure, the Montauk Project, or Project Phoenix is a military code name. But instead of having adventures in time and space and dealing with the upside down or whatever, the Montauk Project is really about time travel and putting us onto a negative timeline. And by manipulating time and space. And that's what they don't ever say in Stranger Things, but that's what it's really about. And that's everything that the negative side is trying to do with all the mind control and putting us in these perceptual mind cages. And then with that comes all the spells and magic and trickery.
Yeah, the elevator of bases going up and down, military from multiple timelines and futures, and ET versions that are maintaining a timeline maintenance, with one of its biggest anchor points being in the Long Island's Montauk, and then it harvesting people from multiple timelines, realities, realms, dimensions, and putting them through projects of mind control, MK Ultra, Monarch programming, alter creation through with amnesia barriers, and then harvesting and targeting many people with abilities all throughout the planet with things that they need to incur or penetrate into multiple spaces, timelines, and anchor into them with a version of them that then makes them super resilient through time, and then carrying out their agenda with their cycles of abuse from multiple ETs controlling the military ops, and so kind of making a big altar box around people's abilities and then harvesting it towards locations or making clones of them, and then fulfilling negative, mostly some neutral, and even less positive, but still there are positive factions that broke off that are gaining ground, that with people like you and other people in this panel and people that gain awareness of it can, if you're in it, you're a trap, and you can regain your power and bust through the cocoon and become the positive version of your metamorphosis past what they're trying to control you to be, beyond their wildest expectations and limitations that may, even though they didn't try to make you stronger, they did. And
yeah, because putting all those limitations crushing down on us at the point where we're able to throw them off and transcend that, we're definitely stronger for it. We're definitely wiser for it. That's for sure. We've seen this stuff before, and we don't want to repeat it. I think that a lot of the people who kind of did make a lot of those mistakes and did drink the Kool-Aid, I think that a lot of them, they're going to come back, and I don't think it's a terrible thing, and they're going to get to come back to a new Earth, a better Earth. The unrepentant ones, I've heard they get to go to various prison planets and incarnations, like the planet depicted in the science fiction Vin Diesel movie, Pitch Black. Oh, apparently that's a prison planet, because in the worst of times, if you're service to self and you're not cooperating with people, it's like a harsh desert planet. It's going to be hard to survive. But in the best of times, but in the worst of times, when they have like an eclipse cycle that lasts for an extended period, all these nasty inner Earth or inner underplanet creatures come out and will gobble up anything and everyone on the surface. So if you are not cooperating with your fellow beings on the surface when that happens, you just get gobbled. They probably just get gobbled over and over again until they learn the hard way Because Earth, this is supposed to be as hard a school as this is. In terms of free will, it's a lot easier than a lot of other places.
Yeah, because like even the consciousness of the earth, like of course as a wholeness, like you embody, like let's say all the spectrums of light. Nevertheless, the big part in earth, like its role at a celestial level, like throughout, within all the planets and so forth, it's a consciousness coming from the heart. Like one of its main missions is to expand what we call heart coherence. And as far as I have read into it, like this is why it's always it's about the heart. It's about the heart because it's our singularity, and it's our way of actually generating that leap, that quantum leap in consciousness. And even like all these psionic abilities and traveling in time, like if you want to know how to measure your brain waves, it's through the heart. Sometimes we're not aware, but depending on the rhythm of how we master the heartbeat, the oscillation, because our heart is oscillating, is spinning as a vortex. If we master it, then it depends on the level of plasma that we are generating and leading to all those capabilities. And one of the things that I have said for a while is that for me, like the wars, you can say all the wars exist due to like there's battling over energy. The energy translated as time, because whoever masters the control of the space-time fabric can choose what timelines to bring into, as let's say, as a core timeline. And when I say a core timeline, I say that how I say it, imagine like this spiral, and this spiral has many branches. So the branches, we are moving them all the time. They are shifting all the time. So there is something that is meant to happen, which is evolution. The how are the branches that we are actually manipulating if we are wise enough to actually surrender into that wholeness and then remembering and restoring our capabilities. This is why they track the kids, because kids, the frequency that they emit naturally is wholeness. They don't care. They are everything.
Yssah, my baby daughter, right? And now she's like
Yeah.
7 months old. When my one housemate business partner, Jaden, when he looks at her, he just sees how bright. She has a super bright pink white aura, and he says that even when there are like shadow people nearby, just like her level of like brightness that many infants and children have just drives away the darkness. And so yeah, it's definitely manifested there.
Yes. Yes. And imagine how can you, like, there is DNA encoding, for instance, within our DNA, we have very specific assets activated. We all have all the same assets, but not activated. So when we have them active, then that's another filter. That's another filter. But mainly we are capable to navigate and surf within that wholeness as kids. And that's why it's easier to activate those genes, because there are not so many conditions that have been filled in and anchored through programs mainly sustained in fear.
Fluoride, crap in
Yeah.
the food.
Yes.
Yeah, I just look back to like all the fluoride mouthwash and brushing my teeth, and I just get a sick feeling. I just wonder, it's never too late to detox, but yeah, just it's there's a lot of nastiness in the here and now.
This conference will be a big detox for people to get rid of
Yeah.
all the blocks and expose the parasites and attachment and things to transcend, and the pathways to get there, the white pills, the amplification of love. It's like in self, like I read a big fountain activation coming up from earth of healing and gifts being given away. ETs from various places upgrading people will be what to expect from coming to this event that Brian's holding. Anyone out there looking to figure out what their purpose is, their mission, this is one of those events that like gives you a greater understanding of why you came here, which with some of the big secrets that barely anyone knows, that like what way showers are here to explain. What would you find out in like some of the spectrums of missions that you found from being on this planet and talking to many people, such as the goers to your conference?
Well, for me, it's pretty mind blowing to have, after sending you my initial Facebook friend request after Facebook nuked my first account because I was trying to warn everyone off of the cocktails. Meeting all the people in the community just virtually through social media. I mean, not all of them, but so many. I look at the 5,000 limit friends lists were allowed, and my mind is blown at the contacts that I have now, the quality of the people that I look up to in our community. And now I'm getting to organize with and help to catalyze the movement. And, it's like every time I go to one of these events and I come back, or if Jaden's with me, I ask him, okay, Jaden, what's my aura look like now versus, normal when we're not at a conference? And he said that after the first contact in the desert that we were at, and I kind of like got like the commission to to help organize the movement. I just felt that was my mission in life. He said, not only was my aura brighter, but it was my normal green is when I'm doing healing work. Orange is my aura when I'm doing more strategic thinking and work. So I'm usually a blend of the two with shielding on top. He said I had that, it was brighter, and then I was shooting off like diamond sparks were like shooting off of me. And during these conferences, like I kind of have like that, I get like a sparkle or a shine because I'm around all of our friends and family. Exactly. I'm sure all of our higher selves are interacting, and the ETs and our spirit guides are all rejoicing. It's just so high vibe. And then beautiful places like St. Pete Beach, for example.
That's a really good point. Like a lot of people I know are target individuals and experience headaches and stress and overwhelm and sadness and just like negative emotions and energy dumped on them daily, and things are fighting at night and all these kind of things. This is an event I like. I'll be going there. I do Sinics and self mastery and teaching defense against the dark arts. And you are really good at countering and reflecting and offense. And I've noticed at these events, all these very powerful people that are good at many different puzzle pieces all come together, start doing commerce. And then we start finding that everyone starts growing in all the things that people are there. So like it's one of those high speed, spiritual, higher self, trade, commerce things that goes on that is really powerful to defending oneself, to making it so that their body is impenetrable, and they start closing all the back doors more and more of how things can get in, and camouflaged and all that. So that's a great thing people can look forward to.
I want to speak to that, Sean. I want to speak to that because, it's on the one hand, what you're speaking to in the positive is where two or more are gathered in my name, right? There's a lot of power there. And the more and more of us together around the higher values and principles and the spirit of liberating humanity and earth and full disclosure. That's the one aspect. And then we get the criticism all the time. There's a certain person, I'm not going to name them, but she and her hairdresser, who've never been to my event last year, our event, or, they're not coming to our event this year. They're just criticizing, it's just a bunch of, targeted individuals getting together to cry over the same traumas over and over and over again. And that's like, maybe the UFO conferences that you've been to, but not ours last year. People have been on each other's shows, probably help each other to write books, going with each other on expeditions to excavate ET artifacts in Mexico, linking up all over. And a lot of them are now not only going on each other's shows and supporting each other. Oh, that's one amazing one. That's like
it's a holo cube.
It's lighter than our other things.
And that reminds me of my Solar Bee logo. Here.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring out the solar bee. It's got the 4 wings on this one. Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
People out there,
you
this
know,
is dug up in Mexico.
Yes.
yeah, so a lot of people get their abilities activated in a good way. You know, because I sometimes if you have your Kundalini thing activated in an uncontrolled way, that can be dangerous. That does happen, but no, we're in a very positive, friendly, happy environment where it's conducive towards healing and empowerment. Like what you're saying, Sean, it's like our abilities help to activate each other. You know, when I see 2 or more remote viewers or clairvoyant viewers try to focus on a distant target together at the same time, where they're like trying to target a location or get information that we need for the movement. They work better together. There tend to be remote viewers who they say they're strong, but they're weak on hearing. And then there are other remote viewers that are better on hearing, but not on seeing. And then when they work together, they help each other to hear and see together. And then that
Yes.
strengthens their abilities from there.
There was a very famous quantum physicist, Mexican, that disappeared, Jacobo Greenberg. And he was one of the pioneers of teaching what he calls the synergic theory, which is teaching people, mainly kids, to connect like kilometers away one from another, but he would concentrate them in groups, and then create other kind of spectrums. And all of a sudden, when he came with the theory and formula for that, he disappeared. But anyway, like that, what we are doing by gathering in such a high uplifting event is what we have been talking about, and what is next in the human evolution, like in the collective evolution, to come together more and more often into these spaces, because people, like Sean was opening with something related to feeling alone, and a lot of people come and saying, I cannot talk about this back at home or with my family or with my friends, and here I come and I feel free because I can talk about this with you all guys, and there is a feedback. And actually,
Magical.
consciousness is a feedback, at many levels, but like those kind of feedbacks that instead of taking 1 year evolving about many aspects of your life, it's in days, because you get so much feedback that is in resonance with what you need. So it's like, come on, this is amazing.
Basically, all of our lives, we've been the outcasts and the black sheep of our families. And really, we've been the radiant lions the whole time, but kind of like ugly duckling, no one ever realized it until now. We're being vindicated in so many ways. And the way I put it is kind of like, we're few and far between, and think of us like, Christmas lights, right? You don't take, your Christmas lights and take them all clumped up and just throw them in one spot on your house. You got to spread them all out, and for greatest effect.
Good enough.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You don't just that's fine. No, we're all spread out to maximum effect. But the downside of that is that it means that individually we all tend to feel, at least within our local physical space, tend to feel isolated and alone. Like we feel lucky if we find another starseed that's far and few between. Usually the families that got 2, it's because they had twins, where it's like, the uncle and then like, the kid, and then there's a generational thing. Fine, you got 2 starseeds, but there's that gap there. But when you have conferences like ours, now all those lights, are kind of coming together, and we shine that much brighter together, and that the harmonic resonance builds up, and we're sharing our secrets and wisdom. And I think that a lot of the spiritual activations come about by realizing a lot of the spiritual truths. The more spiritual truths we realize, the more it opens us up along that line of truth to get more and more God's source to come in, and then that maybe helps to unlock our abilities more and more.
Exactly.
What inspired you to start with the conferences?
I was a medical organizer and advocate for 8 years, organizing physicians to fight for the ethical practice of medicine. And so I have a health advocacy background and a biochemistry degree, but I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV, and but just for entertainment purposes only. And when the scamdemic hit, and so many people, including all the members of my family, rolled their sleeves up, I said, "Oh my God! Like, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? Like, what's society going to do if 7 out of 10, roughly, have gotten at least one jab? That's bad." And I realized, well, shit, we need medical beds, med bed technology really badly. And I said, well, how are we going to get med bed technology since it's all being suppressed and being, used in underground bases and secret space programs against us? Well, we're going to have disclosure. And so that around then was when I was at the Contact in the Desert several years ago, and then co-organized a Montauk tour. That epiphany, when that hit me, it made me realize, like, it gave me an urgency to organize for our Star Trek future, and I still have that urgency. But since then, my understanding of the movement and the richness and wealth of what it means for all of us has expanded so much more.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad that you're here and doing it. We really appreciate you and shining your light to pass the torch to many that are witnessing, so that they can eventually create more of these tidal waves that are pushing and pulling on the tug of war for the timeline's victory towards disclosure. For those out there too, and somebody in the comments wrote that they're fearful of like having a shield every day. Yeah, but there'll be events at this one that teach abilities how to get overpowered shielding and love activation, and turning on your heart and making it so that you the love energy and the source energy can overcome all that's coming at you. And there's
For
a lot
example,
of protection.
Sean, let's use an example of what you're talking about. Rodica in our audience is pointing out rightly that that conferences like ours do get targeted by the dark, because where you have such amazing concentrations of light and power, the darkness is going to want to be there to feed and subvert and distort. But having said that, we gather in so much strength and power that we also subvert those coming to subvert us.
Yeah, we're traps for them too.
Right. We can psychically and spiritually counter attack or defend or go on the offensive these groups that they send after us. A lot of it is probably just spiritual warfare, where they're getting exposure to our energy and the truth that we're saying. And many of the people who are being sent to attack us, they themselves are under mind control. They themselves may be operating under an altar. And so, anything we can do to break through that programming and free them. And that does happen. That's happening. That is, that's the gain in our side. So the other side, they can send their trolls to harass us, but be careful. We might neutralize or win over the chess pieces they send at us.
Exactly. And then it's like the hero and the anti-hero team against worse evils. At your last event, I noticed that similar thing happened with a lot of negative timelines of both Montauk and the Zeta Reticula and versions of the future timelines. A lot of the negativity collapsed, and they made different decisions at different points. And then
they wised up. They got to learn from the wisdom that we have to share in the here and now. And then that assist them, and there's all the quantum knock-on effects.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, and here comes the mastery, right? Like, if at some point we had been so suppressed, now, like by physical forms, now gathering in events where there could be another kind of suppression is not an excuse to come into unity and actually be that coherence that we are talking about. Of You can call it 0 point energy, you can call it techniques, tactics, that you were shown to reverse, whatever, but we're in the field. We're in the field, and it's time now to action, to come into unity and be present. Presence is what is being required, presence and action.
The lights turn on to push back the darkness so the children feel safe on the playground of life as they grow up and become more aware of who they are, because they're not distracted by survival. And for those out there, many people I've noticed in this, that this conference will bring people together, and they can get contacts, and they'll have friends forevermore, even if it's at a distance. Some people might be in the same state as you that show up, but there's hundreds. Some people feel lost as well. They don't know where to go in life, what to do, what their goals are, who they are, what to follow. I say passions, love, excitements, and joys, but also events like this show this roadmap and show them truth. And truth is the key in the genes for happiness. The more you know about yourself and the universe around, the less suffering and the weights on you there are. And you get a clarity with the purification of the overwhelm to what the best option to do, and where you chart your path towards the storm or around it, or all the different scenarios and pathways.
You're equipped, as long as you're equipped with the truth, you know which is best. Like Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, speaking to exactly what you're saying, Sean. My favorite quote of his is, "The closer you are to truth, the wealthier you are. Not just materially wealthy, but healthy, spiritually, happiness. The more truth you know, then the more empowered you are." Some people in our audience are asking, they're asking about JP at the Rise of the Guardians conference. He was wearing his helmet that he tends to wear. The reason why he wears it is because he used to be active duty military, and he's no longer active. But because of his military connections, somehow he got tapped by those in the military who are linked to the secret space programs to assist in leaking or disseminating information to the public. And so since that time, not JP from youth has had his own ET experiences, particularly in Brazil. Since that time, the military has had him come outside his house and photograph triangle craft and rectangle craft in the sky above him. Also, he's been to certain, apparently, space arcs, and a lot of this is reported on Dr. Michael Sala's exopolitics.org. But he wants to protect his identity because he's not quite yet ready to come public. There's a lot of public ramifications to going public. But he himself said at that conference recently that in the near future, in the coming months or years at least, he will be unhelmeting.
Wonderful.
Yes. Full disclosure.
Yeah, and when we went to the conference last time, I was getting tons of visions. And like some awesome dreams, and some ETs showing up in the dreams, and some big mantids coming up in vision. And I had this vision that just kept playing out, and it was pretty HD. It was nice. I tuned into it. It was like this military from the future took me, Drago, and Anthony Zender and they did something crazy to our biologics that turned on a lot of abilities that are overpowered, and they had us take down a big Draco base that was like too evil for the timeline, and they couldn't be saved. Which, you know, I like to save anything I can. And that was pretty badass. There's some cool abilities being thrown around in that vision. It was just continuous.
Positive with like positive SSP you felt took you on
yeah, mostly
missions?
in the future. Yeah, there's like a future timeline where it's more concrete in positive white hats, and they're fighting with the dark hat timelines as well. And they take people that they, you know, need and alter that remembers their past lives, and gives them a lot of like benefits that then make it so that they're like, oh, you're the only one that can, or are the best with the greatest likelihood of completing this mission on the timeline, such as getting rid of something that used negative timelines to get in there in the first place, which there's a timeline where, yeah, and so I've heard also some stories. Other people had some interesting contacts or saw some UFOs during the conference.
Yeah, and some people were seeing some astral beings, we've including a positive dragon in the astral. I'm not sure if you got to talk to Christopher about that. Yemi Janae and Arkeem, when they were doing like a meditation together, they saw like golden energy shooting from the sky down to the beach right where we were at, and they said that was indicative of a timeline shift. And Yemi Janae, she definitely, of the Farsight Institute, has very powerful third eye activation going there. So yeah, I see people are talking about, are there white hats? Aren't there? There's a lot of indications that there are white hats. I think we should say that for another show, but I'd love to come back and speak about that sometime.
Yes,
White hats
we'd love
here
to have
on
you.
Earth and off planet. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yes.
Sure, we can have that. Very concept of it is just that there are good people in the world. It's like, yeah, I can understand with all the fear coming down how people wouldn't think that. There are a lot of
If there weren't white hats, we would have been screwed by now. It would be game over. Game over.
And even the black hats, they're like, darkness is different than evil. Evil is like dark and light are supposed to balance each other like a chess game.
Evil
match.
is something different that's nasty.
Monkey wrench fucking the whole thing up. So darkness is more susceptible with evil, but the key to it is, if you were to view timelines where there are different members in replacing some of the members in leadership, you would be able to see that what we have in options is one of the more preferred or lesser evil options in a lot of the time in different leaders around the planet, which is why Earth allows it, because it usually means the light force doesn't have a strong enough like challenge to it, or at least a lighter version. And so it's, you know, like the Draco, or like how you'd see a farmer versus like a bunch of ravenous, uncontrollable, mindless vampires that just kill everything on the planet, instead of, okay, they're letting people survive. And so that allows for a reality and a chance for the flock or the cattle.
There has to be a sustainability. It upsets the game if the balance is too far to the dark or the light.
Instead of destroying the planet, allowing it as harvest.
Yeah.
And also
you harvest it ruins the game.
Yeah, and that it's very important for me to comprehend that everything comes in gradients. You know, whoever says that shifts happen like this, sometimes they do. However, there are very, like, if we go into ranges, there are a few of them. Why? Otherwise, reality would collapse. So you have beams, you know, like of reality that shifts like this. However, the base goes as gradients. So the more that we know how to surf and navigate through those gradients, the more that we are actually creating that, and again, I refer to the vacuum, which is that force that is capable to bring any type of information, any reality, and bring it into wholeness, which is the mastery that you would see in monks, that you would see in the ascended masters, Yeshua, and so forth. That's how they would actually create miracles, that because they knew how to manipulate the energies. And it's somehow like this. When we state from a principle that we are coming to another stage, step by step, then we are overcoming the survival mode in which we were educated, because the survival mode is precisely now, 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 and it doesn't recognize
It's a state of
organic
disempowerment.
pulse.
Yeah, it's constant state of disempowerment that undoes our organic evolution.
And for somebody in the comments that don't feed into the narratives, guys, ain't no one helping us. We help ourselves. I agree. The goal is to, you are the one you're waiting for. You need to overcome your reality. This hologram is, it's built around each individual consciousness, but the one being shown to you is a test for you to overcome. So go inward. You don't have to wait for others, but don't be super black-pilled into thinking.
Yeah, don't be so like, oh, we're all alone. Like you.
Yeah. I used to be like that. I used to be in despair and fear and going. You're smart. You're taking all the black pills. Keep going. Learn all about this universe. Keep going, but balance it with light pills as well, which is that you're not alone. You're not the only one like yourself, and you also have a soul family around the planet. You also have versions of yourself, and there's more to this hologram and game that you can. And just because you're in the prison or the trap doesn't mean you're not a prison or a trap that it fell into as well. And that you can burst through it and bring it to where you're healing it, light in the love that conquers all, your source connection that found itself into something that is ultimately not an infinite cocoon, but that even if it's a lot of layers on people that are heavying them down, you can still break through it. Your light and your love fire never go out truly. They might go down to the size of an atom in your heart. Give them love, focus on them, hold them, breathe into them, make it brighter and brighter. And it starts to spread with love, gratitude, and faith in yourself, in your source. The way out of any prison or matrix is within. And then you make it so that you embrace the part of yourself that's beyond it and then bigger than it. And then you engulf around it, give it size and scale, and you shrink it down, the heaviness, until you transmute it all into a better format that you can envision and dream. Turn the nightmare into the daydream. You got this. And because you're so smart into collecting as many black pills as you did, you get to see all the problems and then be able to be the solution. So thank you for what you're doing. And everyone out there as well. And you're going to meet at this conference more people like you that share your vision and work to empowering your dream and what you came here to do and to the light that you bring to this world.
And I want to say, in acknowledging that there are white hats, it doesn't mean that we're relying upon them. I mean, look at us. We're organizing conferences. I'm putting together an online platform and a cryptocurrency, a full disclosure movement coin to help fund and drive the movement further. So no, I don't call truth black pills. I call defeatism, masquerading as truth, black pilling. I think that being realistic acknowledges that there's a spectrum of light and dark. And just like there's a huge majority of black hats up until now, I think it would be incorrect and naive or pessimistic to say that, oh, there are zero white hats. They don't exist. There's nobody out there in any military or position of authority or in a bloodline family who wants out of that system and wants better. In fact, I've met plenty of those people. So I would have to say that white hats most definitely exist.
Yeah. And when I say black pills or white pills, what I mean is they're both truth. They just might come in with either white pills are positive emotion empowerment, like into build up. And black pills are equally nurturing and nutritious, but they usually come with, oh no, like an exposing, oh, I got a parasite attached to me or something. It's good that you became aware of that. It's not bad at all when I say that. So spiritual ascension, I'm not, you're keep doing what you're doing. I believe in you. So it's, you need, everyone needs to get a diet of both and not reject them, because they're teachers of the world and they bring us to greater awareness. It's good to balance them, because we can either get locked into love and light, or locked into despair, or like, you know, that what I'm saying, the dark abyss of lack of trust or belief in others. But there's a balanced state that's the best of both worlds.
You know, a way that I like to put it, to like beyond pills is there can be multiple colors of
suppository
pills.
One too. Yeah.
No, actually, I was going to talk about the scale. You know, like in the
Yeah, well,
Egyptian
the black
cosmology,
pills are
they talk
suppository.
about the scale, and they talk about the heart and the feather. You know, and like any scale. And being the justice blind, you know, it's about, if you don't have any of the two poles, then the scale, you know, doesn't work. It even collapses from its purpose. You know, so you need both aspects in order to generate that justice. You know, justice meaning as the capability of reigning over the reality by you being the axis, you know. So the eyes blinded, folded, blindfolded, is not about not seeing what there it is. It's about not falling partially for any of those things.
Right.
Know?
We have other senses than just our vision, than seeing
Yes.
what is on the surface. And that's
Yes.
where, you know, what have the white hats done for us lately? You know, people ask, well, from what I can tell, a lot of these celebrities and politicians have been body swapped and body doubled out. And there was a long time where you had these celebrities like Tom Hanks and Ellen DeGeneres doing these TikToks where they're literally showing, like, holding help signs. They won't let me leave this house. Okay, so all of that, the mass resignations of CEOs, the borders of the U.S. right now being basically reinforced, which at this time I think is a good thing. I don't think mass weaponized migration is a good thing. The town of Springfield, Ohio, with 20,000 immigrants when they could barely accommodate 2,000, much less 20,000, that they're going bankrupt, township after township in counties. And then even the sanctuary cities had to like revoke a lot of that status. So, you know, I'm seeing a lot of the contradictions coming out. They're not all being 100% resolved on the spot, but it is happening. If you can't tell the difference between this current administration with Doge rooting out corruption in Social Security, Department of Energy, Department of Justice, the FBI, CIA, USAID, and you think that the other administration was going to do the same exact thing, I would disagree with you very strongly. And from a full disclosure movement standpoint, all the super soldiers that I've spoken with who have recall of Hillary 2016 timelines where Hillary won, they all say those timelines were bad. They were dark. Their transhumanism timelines, a lot of them led to World War III and nuclear war. And the Team Blue, that would have been a continuation of that. And, you know, I'm a pragmatist. We either had the orange guy or we had Kamala. We got the orange guy. Now we make the best of it.
I think we just have in the comments misunderstanding on our definition of white hats. We personally, I'm just seeing it as positive chess players in the game that have gone up to different points in power that are in the seen and unseen chess moves. But you know, I don't know, their definition might be different. That's okay.
We're some all of those here white hats may be star seeds. Some of those, a lot of those white hats are star seeds themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like it's very interesting how we choose different scenarios as tests to come into unity. For instance, you have a transmission talking about this precisely, and of course you will have all kind of perceptions, and that's part of the unity. However, within all those perspectives, we share something in common, which is us moving forward, or well, if you take the true perspective of time, it would be the other way around, like the time coming backwards to the front. But anyway, so it's focusing on the main communion that we have and not losing that from our perspective, which is evolving. And for instance, all these topics and all these discussions are, like taking us to the next level, where we are capable to actually move into higher truths if we are open to, because it all depends on each one, whatever you believe, that it makes you evolve. And that is the truth that is undeniable, because only you know.
Yeah, and that goes back to the poison discussion we're talking about. Each of these schools of everything is essentially can be a teacher. There are Christians in the South that drink strychnine because they believe if you have so much faith in their ceremonies, it does nothing, and it doesn't. But the faith
But
is
some of them, but then some of them get bit by the snake. They're charming, and then they die. So
if you get like really bit by something really deadly or stung by a jellyfish that's deadly or whatever, there is a meditation you can do that like transcends that death, and those are challenges. Each of those poisons, like poisonous plants, has a mystery school. Like was it
pee?
Not,
yes.
What?
If you get bitten by a by a jellyfish, you can pee on yourself.
Oh yeah,
jellyfish. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's like these old herbs that are poisonous that if you take a little bit of and gain an immunity to, it has a evolutionary changing thing in it that turns on a superpower. There are secrets like that in the world, but so everything can be a teacher that you can master and overcome and become immune to. Though it's good also to walk the path of detachment and purification from what's unnecessary, because you can have a teacher for a while and you've learned most of their lessons and don't need it anymore. Everyone can choose, so they can choose what they want to do in their pathway and what they want to discover. So that's good to have that free will. And these events are very strong in unity and allowing people to be themselves and who they are and what they believe, and let that be brought to the table, and then everyone can grow from it, which is beautiful to me.
Yeah.
It's life is a school, but this event has.
It's a PhD.
It actually will.
It's a PhD.
Yeah. Besides physically on the ground. Oh, and this does go to physical, but like ETs will be visiting people that go to this event. There's, if you've ever heard of the secret schools that people are taken into and they are taught different abilities and stuff by different ET races, this is a place where you can get enrolled, as well as there's this cool concept that barely anyone knows that I've been visited by multiple times, these extra dimensional witches and wizards of multiple species. This is a galactic magic school that
including Merlin, recruiting. Right?
Yeah, they'll be there, and a bunch of other beings remote viewing and anchoring through people and avatars that are going to be showing up. Interestingly, there's schools that will introduce people. There's also a multidimensional Comic-Con that's happening right above it, so people can interact with that kind of meshing of all these different species.
Yes. One of the things that I remember the most about last year's conference, I mean, many things, and all of them very grateful for them. And it's not because you're here. I always have a very in a very high esteem, the conference in you, and Sean knows it. The level of acceptance in which we all intertwined into a reality, regardless um, where it was coming, where each one of us was coming from, there was such a field of acceptance. And acceptance is receptivity. And I do believe that that's one of the other reasons why also the ET, well, the galactic community came, because we were receptive, we were ready, we are ready to receive, you know, the information that they are transferring through the quantum, through the astral. Like, we were having like very powerful dreams every day, and because that's how it works, at many levels. And even after, you were talking about the post conference effect, that we all go through, which are huge upgrades, like aura wise, and all this information coming through. So I do believe that what you were talking about, for instance, Oprah Winfrey in the beginning, like turning that, like filtering through the new age and so forth, because they know how it works. They know how to filter in something or someone or a group to later on make it look like fraud or false, and then lose the hope on that, and then like come into
They
separation.
infiltrated. Yeah, they infiltrated and corrupted from the inside and co-opted.
Yes. Yes, because they know how reality works. So then say, okay, this is imminent. Like, these guys, the collective is awakening anyway. So what can we do? So they infiltrate, from the very same water that we are taking to refresh us, to refresh ourselves, to purify ourselves. And then they hide the hands, and then people is blaming on the water. It's not the water. Water is just information. It's what is encrypted in that information. And then here comes the alchemy.
Nice.
Right. We can definitely alchemize it. Maybe before we close off, because I know we're hitting the 2 hour mark soon.
Yes.
People are asking, what do I, what do we think about Elon and Trump? First of all, I want to say that there are body doubles out there all the time, and swaps. My favorite example, other than Biden, who obviously got swapped out, he went from having an anchor tattoo and being hairy and actually looking like Joe Biden, and having his original signature and being right-handed, I think it was, to having no tattoo, no hair, looking like the kid from The Deliverance with a banjo, all grown up. And, just that's clearly a different person. Putin got swapped out around 2009 or 10 or 11. So my take is that know that there are always can be body doubles. Some of these people can be swapped out. I think Trump and Elon themselves are bloodline, but in general, they're more towards the positive factions. And, if they stray too far the wrong way, I think either of them could get replaced. In my understanding, and there's many people in the community, is that the white hats were the ones who approached Trump in 2014 to run in 2016 because they needed him to sign a bunch of executive orders to empower them to clean up the human trafficking. And one of the very first executive orders that Trump signed, and you can look it up out there, was an executive order authorizing the government to seize all property and resources of anyone guilty of human trafficking and crimes against humanity. And since then, a lot of property apparently has been seized. A lot of Hollywood has disappeared. A lot of Washington, D.C. has disappeared. So there's many proofs. If use your own spiritual discernment, get your own readings, do your own remote viewing, do your own channeling or whatever, protected, of course, and get your answers and look at your fellow remote viewers. And we can agree to disagree at the end of the day, but whatever you say, Trump's bad, Trump's great, Elon's good, Elon's bad, that's not going to stop Sean, Yssah, myself from organizing the conferences, writing the books, doing the consults, doing the healing work, doing the networking, getting resources out there, and on and on and on and on. Many more things I won't even mention here.
Yeah, and what did I think? What is his name? The border czar Tom Homan said he found over 300,000 trafficked kids. He said it multiple times, and anyway, so yeah, there's there's positive timeline stuff going on for people to discover. That goes with the white pills that like make us understand that we're not just alone. We're with collectives that came here. Even if like I've ran into many people that have a good heart, and even if they're like maybe gatekeeping on certain issues and not like everything, that's on if you understand them at their fullest and what they're dealing with, it's understandable. It's a chess game. It's what they need to do to operate. But they're bringing
Like Sean, let's give an example. Let's give an example.
Them to go past that.
But let's give an example for our audience here. There are people in our community have been coming out as excellent whistleblowers and truth tellers, and then at a certain point, some of them have been approached and have been threatened, and the horrible deaths of themselves and members of their family. And at the point that they agree to sell out, not say certain things or take money, yeah, that's a hard decision, and that's someone who did it under extreme duress. Does that make that person evil? I mean, I'm not going to judge them like that. At a certain point, even though the person shut up for the sake of the safety of their family and themselves at a certain point, does that mean 5 or 10 years later when conditions change and they come out, do you just kick them to the side and say, no, you're always limited hangout, I'll never, ever, ever, ever trust you, go away? Well, I mean, I don't think that's going to help advance the movement. I think if people come out in earnest, and admit they were under severe threat and duress, and now they want to do the right thing, generally you want to give those people a chance.
Yeah,
of course.
Unity is the way we win this game. Whatever is involved in it, the school, the prison, where the predators within it, and then the harvesting system and the enslavement. How we get out of it is through unifying, like Bug's Life.
Well, actually, but I got to say, Sean, there's a lot of this talk of unity in the community, and my message is that yes, we have to have unity, but we have to have unity upon shared, common, higher principles and goals. The idea that you're a human and I'm a human, and these people they're minor attracted people and they're human, and out of unity we need to unify. No, I ain't unifying with them. We're going to unify with anyone who wants to join us up here, not just we're just going to unify down here in the mud. That ain't happening.
Parasites are different.
It's coherence, and about like it's like love and the words and the concepts for both of them. Like love and unity. You imagine love, and then you imagine like rose petals all over the place and honey and all the time. That's not love. That's an idea of love that they have sold to us. It's the same about unity. Unity doesn't mean being like this all the time. For me, unity is every piece and every element occupying the space that, due to resonance, corresponds to it. Then you create harmony within all the gradients of the spectrum.
There has to be agreements, debate. For dealing with parasites, it's like a different equation that's a little harder. They might want, like a parasitic 40-year-old stepchild that lives in their mother's basement. It's a little, you can't just enable them in like that kind of concept of unity. They'll keep parasiting off you. You have to cut them off from their things that enable them, and then get them to where they can be on their feet on their own, and they learn their lessons, and they come to conclusions about moral code and goodness and natural law and understanding to do no harm, and then not be in lack anymore, and just not being just draining off others and making everything worse, because there are infiltrators and false light for that. But yeah, that's part of the equation to become stronger. to be able to figure out how to be in an acceptable state of unity with those people in a way that is not enabling them to be evil, but brings them towards goodness the more they try to entangle with you. But everyone has a challenge and things they're dealing with in the war internally and externally. So I understand why people get into drama and feel the need to perpetuate that. It's just it sometimes just slushes off and then eventually dissipates after certain internal work is done as well, and then that reflects to the parasites that try to attach to us spiritually or physically.
Yeah, we throw off the parasites.
Yeah.
Brian, I know that it might be, like a little bit hard or not. Let's say in 3 words or in 5 words or in a phrase, like just synthesizing it. How do you think that the conference, or what do you are offering from your wholeness? What are you putting into putting in the table through your conference?
I'd say our conferences and our gatherings and the platform we're going to launch bring together some of the most cogent, coherent whistleblowers and testifiers. And in presenting such a strong, cohesive amount of testimony, that where a lot of the people who are on our stages, they remember each other from the programs and the different places, the good, the bad, and a lot of the ugly. And in presenting such a strong grouping, anybody who looks at that, either by attending or the live stream recording or getting consults with any of the people on our stages, our presenters, and vendors, that builds up the movement. It makes us that much stronger. There's the in-person work that we all do of a lot of us have been on each other's shows and networking and organizing and supporting each other since last July. And so we're only going to strengthen upon that this July. And by providing a framework and an organized effort where people can meet each other, share resources and abilities, and cooperate, that's creating a real platform that we didn't have before. I see the gains from last year, and I'm really excited to see this coming July and the gains we have to make further in the years to come. And our work is only going to become more important, because just disclosing the stuff is one thing, but then the rest of society processing it and internalizing it, that's going to take a few more decades, And so we have a lot of work ahead of us. And if I can have the energy in me to really put my nose to the grindstone for the next 10 years, that's what I'm prepared for. I mean, it could go longer, but I'm hoping it's within 10 years.
And to put like a greater chess move and be a part of a movement that pushes us closer to.
Wait, real quick, Sean, I gotta jump in. We got this troll here, Spiritual Ascension. How much is it to attend this conference? Is it free as it should be? Well, let me ask you, Spiritual Ascension. How many conferences do you organize out of your own pocket for $145,000, $150,000 for free? Do you think do I deserve to at least get paid back to host the event? Or, oh my gosh, dare I say, I mean, I lost $105,000 last year on the last event, so I didn't make money. I lost money. But if I broke even, it would be great. But let's say I made $5,000 or even $50,000 off an event I work year round for. Would you have a problem with that? And then Spiritual Ascension, how many conferences have you thrown and then for free for people? And we'll wait.
Yeah, let's go to yours. I would love to. Let's all show
I want to go to Spiritual Ascension's amazing conference where he's helping everybody, organize and network, and we'll see you there. Just but in the meantime, for those who are having financial hardship and want to attend, I am more than happy to grant discounts, and in often cases I grant people totally free 100% admission.
I know. And this is precisely resonance, Brian, because when someone is coming from a space of coherence, then you just say it. You know, I'm witness. You just say, hey, I've got this for you, you know?
Yeah.
So
Come on in. We're stronger for you.
yeah. And you point a very important topic. Well, actually, through that comment, because I can see that trying to, like, this idea again of new age, which is a distorted form of disconnecting with the reality, you know, like you have spent not only money, a lot of energy in this. And I saw you last conference and you were emanating so much love and respect for everyone and focus for the mission of the conference to be fully transmitted and manifested. So I can only speak
I was
on
able to
my
have
behalf,
faith in you.
and
It was
I
good.
can just tell you thank you. Thank you for everything that you are doing and all the people like Rion that are organizing these events, that are putting so much, and the team like Ida and all the team Light, you know, which is
Yeah.
impressive.
Stress you guys take on.
Yes.
The weight.
Yes.
It's a lot.
It's work.
Yes.
It's
So
work.
thank you for what you're doing.
And I appreciate that. And I appreciate the people in our audience who recognize that as well, especially people like Cosmic Mama, who has gotten to experience the conference with us, and James, who will be there this year, I believe.
I hope.
So, yeah. But you know, Spiritual Ascension, we await your YouTube podcast and your book and your consults and supporting people in the community and your conferences. We greatly look forward to that. But until then, we will continue our puny, tiny work.
Yeah.
So many beautiful comments. Thank you, Barrett. Thank you, James. Thank you, Jaylene. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Thank you, Brian, for being here with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, you know, like from everything that we have shared, I have this beautiful smile coming from you. These cheers. I already am out of my seat. How about you? Yeah. Here's for what we are creating and co-creating. And thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And looking forward to be there in person with you, sharing with all that magnificent people, presenters, attendees, and organizers, because we are all together creating this. What we create from this is a reflection of what we are. So yeah, let's have fun.
Yeah, there's going to be a big tidal wave that's going to make the timeline push to disclosure quite heavily. It's already got this big collective consciousness of people's higher self that went to the last one, and they've been taking down all these things and anchors in the timeline that push against disclosure, and we're taking that apart piece by piece and then pulling the threads that unravel the whole sweater or whatever, you know, it's metaphor, into what is on the opposite end of this tug of war. That's that for some reason, whatever motivation, fear, all these different beliefs and why we can't have disclosure. No, we can't do that.
Yeah,
so
there's always a reason. There's always a reason, guys and gals, but no reason's good enough. And Rodica, I'm happy to comp your pass this year. If you can't make it out this year, next year, we have a Telegram group for the conference to help people link up for roommates and ride share to minimize costs. So people can reach out to me directly on Facebook. Just put in Brian Tseng Solar Bee. I'm pretty shadow banned, but if you enter Solar Bee in, it'll help you find me. Message me directly, and I'm more than happy to work with you and facilitate you getting to the events and being part of the movement. Yeah. So thank you.
People were very kind. People were very kind and helping in accommodation with a lot of people last time. So there's a lot of options for you guys. If you're like, oh, I don't know if I have enough money. You're going to probably get something manifested to you if you open up to like more people in this group and who's going. So reach out if you can, and you'll find a way to get here. So come on to the conference, please.
Yes. When the
I'd love to meet you guys.
Yeah. And when the coherence is, you know, like everything comes in alignment, thinking, feeling, and action. So, and it's our cycle. As the nature has its seasons, it's our season.
It's our
It's
time.
our season, and it will last a lot.
Yeah.
As it's so proportional.
And
So
you guys out there, imagine like your life compared to what it is now after the conference. Imagine like you just went through a bunch of experience. You met overpowered people. You learned some crazy wisdom that solved a bunch of your problems. You made it so that things start synchronistically flowing and the universe more united with you. All these psionic abilities come online. Start remembering, you get visions of this cat lady from Lyra coming to your
That happened to Yemi Janae.
all
That actually happened, people. That's not yeah. Because she is a Lyran
telepathic
cat. Yeah.
People ringing up your extra dimensional phone to your friends list, all these people, and then you just build off of that, and it makes your life so much better, and you're not alone anymore. And there you find somebody nearby you. You might find the love of your life. Like imagine the possibilities that open up in that change in your timeline that this event is going to do.
yeah, you
And
just
to
need
answer
be
your
there
question,
and be open to.
Cosmic Mama was asking if we're doing a costume contest again. Yes, we are. Aurora Diamond Heart. Yeah, she won the contest last July, and so she got free admission this year. And we will once again have a costume contest on the final special event dinner of this year, and whoever wins will win a free pass for 2026.
You had some nice prizes last time, and for some reason the field was really in our favor and luck. We won like 3 prizes last time.
Yeah, and you know who won Sean's session?
Who?
Can you imagine?
Matt Mornian. You? Oh God! I hope you.
It was me.
It's a great. It's very attuned to luck psionics, so that's very interesting.
Synchronicity is strong there.
You're putting on.
Yeah, because we are creating that field. And thank you, Brian. So, are there any last words that you want to say in this show before wrapping
I just
it
want
up?
to say, thank you, Yssah and Sean, for having me once again. Winnie the Wonder Dog will be there. I look forward to seeing everyone. Bin Charge, reach out to me. Anyone else? I'll help facilitate you getting there. I hope you can make it. James, Erica, I think you're going to be there. Yes. So excellent. And I'm just going to say goodnight and Solar be out.
Wonderful. Smash that like, subscribe to both our channels if you want to plug how people can reach you, please.
And notification.
Yeah.
Yes.
And see you. Yes.
Can you plug so fulldisclosuremovement.org to get your tickets. And comment below, share your love. We'll do more of these shows if you see it. Share these with a bunch of people like-minded into these type of things, ETs, disclosure, truth movements, patriot groups, secret space program, psionics, spirituality, ascension, all the growth stuff. Get your activations, bring those activations to others. Maybe you can find a group of people that can come along with you, and maybe in the groups you can find a way for that to get easier for you to do. So come on along to this journey with us.
It is, and it will be in July 15th to 18th of July. So hopefully we will see you all. Whoever is in resonance and wants to join us, you're more than welcome. You can already have an idea of a small peek of what will be happening and going on there. And actually, words are just, like limited to what you will be experiencing there. Yeah. So if you are ready to connect and open up your space to see what is there waiting for you, then we'll see you there. Yeah. And we will love to see you there. We will love to connect.
Yeah, come say hi.
Thank you.
Come hang out. Let's become friends. And let's teach each other together and expand our network and connection and make our lives a living wonder.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And yeah, in the resonance zone, as you said, James, it will be lovely to finally meet you. I know it will lead to many more networks. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your comments. See you, and until next time.